All right, let's get into it. Think about building a house for a second. You would never, ever start construction on a piece of land you don't actually own, right? Of course not. And yet so many businesses are building their entire online presence on really shaky ground. So today, we're going to break down how to build your digital job site the right way, transforming it from some precarious rental into a valuable property that you actually own.
So first things first, you got to understand the lay of the land. On one side, you've got what we'll call rented land. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Now, they're great for getting discovered, but here's the catch. You don't make the rules. On the other side, you have owned land, and that is your website. This is your digital property. You have total control over everything, the code, the content, and maybe most importantly, all of your customer data.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. It's really about trust. Just look at this number. According to research from iStock's Visual GPS, a staggering 81% of consumers distrust social media, mostly because they're worried about all the misinformation out there. I mean, think about that. When your entire business lives on that rented land, you're essentially building on a foundation of distrust from the get-go.
And that leads us right into the biggest problem here, what I call the digital landlord problem. What happens when the platform you've poured all your time and money into suddenly decides to change the rules of your lease?
Well, it makes a lot of businesses into what you might call a digital sharecropper. You're out there working someone else's land, right? So if the landlord, in this case the social media platform, decides to change its algorithm, your reach can literally vanish overnight. Or worse, if they decide to ban your account for whatever reason, your entire business could just disappear in an instant. You have absolutely zero control.
So, how do we solve this? How do we fix it? We start by pouring a rock-solid foundation on land we actually own. And that foundation, the single most critical asset in your entire digital world, is your website. This is phase one of our whole construction project.
I love this quote from Creative S's because it perfectly captures the shift in mindset that we all need. Your website isn't just a passive brochure that, sits there looking pretty. No way. It is an active, tireless employee who works for you 24/7 to generate leads and support your customers.
But for that digital salesperson to do its job, its foundation has to be perfect. And it really just comes down to three non-negotiable things. First, speed. Research shows that just a 1-second delay in loading time can slash your conversions by 7%. Second, it has to be mobile-friendly because let's be real, that's where most people are browsing. And third, it needs crystal clear navigation so your customers can find what they need without getting frustrated and just leaving.
Okay, foundation's poured, it's solid, now it's time to put up the framing. This next phase is all about making sure your brand new digital property can actually be found by potential customers. I mean, what's the point of a beautiful building if it's completely invisible? And this is exactly where search engine optimization, or SEO, comes into play. To put it simply, SEO is just the process of making sure search engines, like Google, really understand what your business is all about. So when someone out there searches for concrete contractors near me or best custom home builders, a strong SEO strategy is what makes sure your website shows up right on that first page. And why is that so critical? Well, just look at the data. This study by Outbrain shows that search engines drive 41% of all the external traffic to content websites, and social media? Just 11%. That means search brings in more than 3 times the traffic. So if you're only relying on social media, you are missing out on the single biggest source of potential customers. It's that simple.
And of course, the kind of content you have on your site really matters. Depending on your business, you might want to showcase your work in different ways. A custom home builder, for example, might go for a photo gallery, focusing on those stunning visuals. An engineering firm, on the other hand, might prefer a more detailed project overview, breaking down the problems they solved. Or, like this table from May Create shows, a hybrid model can give you the best of both worlds. It appeals to both the people who want to see pretty pictures and the ones who want to see the technical details.
All right, so your digital property is built. It's visible. Now it's time to install the utilities. These are the automated systems that turn your website from just a static building into a powerful 24/7 sales engine that is always working for you.
Seriously, think about it. Unlike a person, your website never sleeps, it never takes a coffee break, and it definitely never asks for a paycheck. It can handle things like self-service bookings, it can answer all those frequently asked questions through a blog, and it can automatically filter out unqualified job applicants, all of which frees up your team to focus on the really high-value stuff.
And it can even follow up with people who've shown interest. This is a really cool process called retargeting. So let's say someone visits your contact page, but for whatever reason they don't fill out the form. A little tracking pixel can tag them. Then, later when they're browsing other websites or scrolling through social media, a simple friendly ad can pop up reminding them about your business. It's an incredibly powerful way to bring back those high-intent visitors who just needed a little nudge.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about future-proofing. This whole strategy isn't just about getting leads today, it's about building a resilient asset that protects your business from the constantly shifting winds of the digital world.
And it all comes down to one absolutely critical asset: first-party data. This is the information you gather directly from your audience, with their permission. Things like website visits, email signups, purchase history. Now, as things like third-party cookies are getting phased out, this data is becoming your most powerful marketing tool. It's accurate, it's reliable, and, you guessed it, you own it.
And that brings us full circle. By building your own email list and collecting your own data, you are no longer at the mercy of that digital landlord. You are not dependent on some social media algorithm to reach the audience that you work so hard to build. You have a direct, reliable line of communication to your customers that absolutely no one can ever take away from you.
So, as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about for your own business. Are you building on rented land, totally subject to the whims of a landlord you can't even talk to? Or are you investing in a permanent, valuable asset that you truly own? The choice you make will really define the future of your business.